Tanımam bazen kendimi, bana derler ki her cahil, söyleyemem ben derdimi. Sevilmek istesem bile güvenemem kimselere, beklerim boş bir hayali. Yerde değil gökte belki gösteriyorsun yeşili, arıyor mu o da beni.
So I'm just heading up the Barvick Road at a snail's pace, and I think there's a car coming around the corner, so I'll have to watch this camera and bring it down again. But I'm going up for my overnight camp.
As you find your way home, Ruth Notman and the Hilaris Sam Kelly should the Jean Van Parmy the Canic
It's Walker's. Parked the car somewhere. Not sure why. I just crunched the stick and disturbed a couple of red squirrels. I don't know if they've seen me yet, but they know there's something. I can see him, he's over there, but he's not seen me. Let's get down a bit, Andy. So I've set up camp. It's I've got a broken pole. I've remembered I had a broken pole when I brought the tent with me, but that's why it's just it's the middle one, so it's awkward. So I've tied it in. It's not bad, but and then also the ground itself is. It's a wee bit uneven. I like to see my sleeping quarters. It's a fine spot. It's shaded, but it's away from the big larch trees, just in case anything timber falls. Even dry weather can cause the timber to come down. Got my roll mat. Hopefully the camera will pick this up in here. My sleeping bags here, you see. It's a nice cosy sleeping bag. And obviously my rucksack in the corner there. It's unbelievable how much stuff I can get in that Van Gogh rucksack, but there we go. And then what I did was on the outer shell I actually put it around the wrong way. I wasn't, well, it was for the zip, and I don't know what I was doing, and so some of the tie cords I wasn't able to put them up, so hence why it's a little bit bobbled, but it's all right. It just it's going to do the trick for me. It's quite spacious in here, plenty of room for Andrew. And a bottle of water, essential item, full of lemon juice, and that's my evening view and my morning view. They said there's to be some cloud cover coming in, and I know it's through the trees. There's definitely a change on, but I think it will remain dry, and that's the most important thing. So what I'm going to do is leave this all sitting. Should be safe enough if I don't think any low vibrations will come up this far. But I'll go home and I'll have a meal. The ground is just far too dry for even thinking about building a fire. And even the gas stove, I mean, I might bring the gas stove from some bacon and bread for breakfast. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll put the gas stove over on top of one of the rocks. And we'll have coffee as well. That's what we'll do, Andy. And but if I have my evening meal, so it's a long way down to the car. down at the bottom of the Barvick, and then what we'll do is we'll go and get our meal. I've already got soup made, so it shouldn't take long. And then, what time is it? It's just after 5 o'clock. And then we'll come back up here maybe for 8 o'clock-ish or something like that, and just sit around with the fairies chatting. So that's the Barvick Falls down there, not further down the ravine, but normally that's racing and gushing with foaming water, but with such a dry spell, that's all it's given us. So that is the true location of the Barvick Falls. Not too sure how the camera would pick up on this poor light. I brought my second smaller rucksack. I don't know why I brought my lantern. I've got a torch there in my other bag, but torch is, well, I might listen to some tunes on my phone or something, I don't know, but if I can't sleep, and or even look at some of the stuff I've put on my YouTube channel. Because I've not got my bed yet, of course not. It's not even 10 o'clock. But I will go. When I drove in by the Money Road there a little while back, I was quite high up from the Glen Turret, but I walked. I drove in the Money Road, and just that the sun just high in the sky just before it drops over the blue crags, and that's about it. That's about as far as it'll go, and then it starts its retreat. And I'm quite fascinated by it. I mean, it's amazing. It goes down over that way and comes up in the northeast, sort of thing. You don't want to be camping in amongst that sort of stuff, you see. Although on the grassy mound would have been alright, actually. Just high enough to get a little breeze and just keep away the bugs and insects and stuff. But I'm in the woodland and I'm not changing venue now. I wanted to be in the woods. It's something pleasurable being in the woodland. Because it's so still, I wouldn't recommend put a tent under any tree in windy conditions at all. I mean, these trees are not bad, but that oak could easily drop a branch, and if it's caught with the wind or something, it can do a lot of damage to you. There's no doubt. There's people being killed in the woodlands while asleep, with trees falling on top of them and stuff like that. It's just horrible to think about that. But, so the main things is, well, I said already, or I might not load it, but even in dry weather, it can create the sort of brittleness with the branches, and they can just drop off without notice, without warning. Without notice, without warning, Andrew. But yeah, it's a good time to be camping because obviously if you're camping in the rain, it's utterly miserable. It's doable, but it's miserable. I haven't done any snow camps. I've not stayed overnight in snowy conditions, because the reason for it is just too long a night to be stuck in a little tent. It just darkness at 4, 4:30 sort of thing, 5 o'clock anyway, but right through until, goodness me, 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. It's just too long. You just can't sleep at that amount of time. You've got to be moving around, and it's not very good to do that in snow in the darkness. And then of course thunderstorms, it was a bad idea to be in the woodland during thunderstorms. And definitely not in a howling gale for camping. But I mean, I like the sound of the trees when it's when Mother Nature's a bit angry with things and is letting off some steam. Branches are swinging around and everything's getting flown up in the air and stuff. It's quite exhilarating actually. So it's about after 10 o'clock now. That's my secondary rucksack. I've got my jet boil in there, coffee. I decided not to bring my gas stove because I'm just not wanting to put on any burners. Like the jet boil is not so bad because it's a concentrated burn, and I put it on the rock across the way in the morning and boil up. I've got water. I've got my water bottle. That's got plenty of water for my coffee. So boil that up, cup of coffee, and I brought a couple of granola biscuits, which some people actually in the commute would, use that as breakfast material. So I'll do likewise, and it'll give me enough energy to, bring down the tent and get everything back down to the motor car. I'll take the small rucksack down first, and then I'll come back up and get the big one with the tent and this aluminium foil that I got from inside a casing of a box. I used to buy my butch meat online, and it used to come in all vacuum packed and covered in ice, and had this metallic kind of layer lining, and I absolutely yards of this stuff. And then one day I thought, that's an excellent thing for the heat convection and actually spread the cold air. There's one layer, the ground sheet in this, and I've got a roll mat below me, which I picked up for £2. It's not even a roll mat. Well, it is, but it's not its true purpose. It was £2, and I've had this tent for several years now. Oh yeah, I've had it for a long time, and I've had it in some pretty bizarre places. But I think I remember on its last use that there was something wrong with one of the poles, and therefore it's not fixing correctly at the top here. You can see I've tied it in. It's not causing any problems. And then my sleeping bag's down here, as I mentioned before, and my big long legs will be able to they won't be stretched outside, I can assure you. They'll be tucked away down in here. Sleep like a baby. I think I'll sleep quite well tonight actually. I'm pleasantly tired after so many up and downs of the Barvick to get to this location. You won't be able to pick up with the camera, but I knew there was fairies around, but it's a big large hedgehog. It's just over there. I'm not going to follow him. He's at peace. This hedgehog's coming my way. I just managed to shut the camera off. Can you see him in the dark? Coming over to see me. You'll see the movement in the darkness. I think I know what it is. He probably smells the water, or the lemon or something. You'll probably hear him. coming all the way over to see him. He hears me. Look. He's right there. He's going to see me. Well, a very good morning on the 17th of June. There's my accommodation. I had not a bad night. It was a bit cooler than I anticipated, but I think because I meant to bring my fleece top, just it's a very thin fleece, and I think I left it on the couch just as I left my coffee filter, well, my strainer for my coffee. I meant to bring it, but I didn't. But I've got coffee on the go, and it's my Italian coffee, but it will have a bit of a powdery residue in the mouth because I've not, well, put it through my little strainer. So, but strong coffee will be great. I came up here to boil up my liquid because the sun shines here, and that will heat me up just that little bit. So that's my coffee already. But I did remember to bring my cup, which I've obviously cleaned since the last time you looked at it. This is my camping cup and gardening cup. So we'll let that settle a minute, and we shall have some coffee and a cigaretto. Great thing, this water bottle too. It holds ample liquid. It's a decent thing. Like, it also keeps it quite cool, the water, despite being in plastic. Yes, it's a fine morning to wake up in the woodland, isn't it? Perfect. There's a little bit of residue in here at the bottom, but otherwise my coffee is fine. Nice hot coffee. I think this is the last day we'll have of the gorgeous weather we've had of late. It's a change on, I can feel it in my bones. So what I'll do is I'll break camp after all, and I'll take the last lot that I brought up last night. I'll take that down to the car, stick it in the boot, come back up and dismantle the tent, and then take the big rucksack with all the components of the tent and the roll mats and everything else connected down to the boot of the car. I always take as much organisation in my when breaking camp as I do when I'm setting things up. That's perfectly dry. There'll be no dew at all. There's my peg. I'll give this a little dusting, get rid of the leaves and stuff like that. But this is the broken pole that I was talking about, you see. So I've had to make a little adjustment here, which is alright, you see, but it's these two should connect and bring them up to the same level. That's why we had that bobble. I'll try and work away with. I'll see if there's any repair I can do to that. If not, I mean, as I say, it's it's all right, but it just means it's a slower when setting up the tent. But that's all it is. And but it's a good tent. I've had a lot of time. I mean, when I went to Glencoe, I took the single man tent, the Highlander, and it's I mean, it's light, very light, but it's not ideal. And this one's much cozier, and but this is the same one that I could not get up at Blackwater Dam that time when I was in a horrendous rainstorm and exceptionally high winds and nothing. Every time I turned left or right, the thing would flap away, and it was just awful. And eventually I persevered and I managed to get some sort of shape to it, but I couldn't get anything pegged in. It just kept on flapping and blowing away. So I ended up piling large rocks all the way around. It was awful. And basically I ended up just cowering under the top sheet for a night. It was just but I lived through the experience, so it's very difficult to relay just how bad it fucking was. But it isn't a smashing morning up here in the Barvick. I'm sorry to go on, but it's so quiet, so peaceful, so with nature. This oak tree here has been keeping an eye on me all night. I saw it last night. Thank you for looking over me. It did. I know it did. I mean, nothing's going to happen, of course not, but it's just reassuring that if you speak to the trees and stuff and just give me a little extra safety. I mean, thank goodness we don't have any wolves or bears or other predators. I don't know how these people in just for example Canada or US can go wild camping. They're pretty gutsy people in my opinion. Anywhere else, if that matter, you know, it's just I mean, even snakes trying to make their way into, you know, imagine waking up with a snake next to you. We do get adders here in Scotland, but I've only seen an adder once, and it scuttled off before I could even get a right look at it, so I can't even say if it was definitely an adder, but I think it was. It's just a lovely arena, and I don't want to break camp. I'd rather spend the rest of my life in this tent, just sitting here at peace with the whole world and nature, while keeping the whole world out, actually. I definitely think that I would have loved to have stayed in or lived between 1850 and 1930. I think that would have been a most fantastic time. If you had reasonable amounts of money, of course. It's always the same, it was about money, but you know, if you didn't have to work from 6 in the morning until 6 at night sort of thing, and like most people did at that time, but live probably better than we do nowadays in some respects, but also if you were poor, you were very poor. Obviously there's no government subsistence at all, and the big danger for most people was the last thing they wanted to know is they were going to be in the poorhouse. So I think most people should just take a second or two and despite struggles, they have to put it in perspective that if they don't have any much money or material things, then you know, they're not alone in the history of the planet, but at least they do get assistance and they're not starving to death. Well, just about, aren't they, some of them? Time to pay their mobile phone bills and go to nail bars and fit their turkey teeth and all that sort of stuff. Priorities, that's what, you know, it's and too much, I think, in some respect, is to keep on looking at other people and envious of other people's so-called wealth. They don't understand that other people may not, it may all just be a show. You may be hundreds of thousands of pounds in debts, for example, just because you drive a flash motor car or live in a big house. I mean, it's well, it is a bit of a mystery how they can afford to send their children to private education and have 3 holidays a year and drive Range Rover and a BMW X5 and and have garden gazebos. It's always been a bit of a mystery to me. Mind you, I don't think they get Fulton and Mason trucks coming to the door. Finally, question. How do you know that Andrew's been camping here? Well, the answer is you don't. You leave it exactly the way you found it. Doesn't matter which part of the countryside. Any flattening of the vegetation, the grasses, they'll soon pop up in the next shower of rain. And you wouldn't know I was here last night, so I suggest to everyone who camps, no litter, and certainly if there's any fires, make sure that you're completely out. Whatever method you need to use to put the fire out, do it. And even if you've got stones and stuff that you've used, put them back where they were. And just leave no trace. That way you'll find that landowners and gamekeepers and country people and just everyone, fellow campers, will appreciate it, and it stops it, the minority spawning it for the rest, who discard all the litter and just leave bags of rubbish flying around and fires smoking away and stuff like that. It's just not on. Anyway, that's me finished from the Barvick. I've just got to cart my stuff up the hill, and I'll do it in 2 journeys. The small rucksack first, and then the large one. Got quite a distance to walk down to the car, but it's a pleasant morning, so I'm not in any rush for anything or anyone. Bye bye.
Tanımam bazen kendimi, bana derler ki her cay, söyleyemem ben derdimi. Sevilmek istesem bile, güvenemem kimselere, beklerim boş bir hayali. Yerde değil gökte belki gözleri yosun yeşili, arıyor mu o da beni? Belki uzak bir diyarda, başkasının kollarında, belki de çok yakınımda. Kapım her çalınışında, bulacak mıyım karşımda, ummadığım bir akşamda. Yaklaşan her adım o mu, yoksa geldi geliyor mu diye günler geçiyor mu? Ne hasta derman bekledi, ne de şeytan günahları onu beklediğim gibi. Alnımdaki onun adı benim için yaratıldı, silemez kul yazılanı. Kapım her çalınışında, bulacak mıyım karşımda, ummadığım bir akşamda. Yaklaşan her adım o mu, yoksa geldi geliyor mu diye günler geçiyor mu? Ne hasta derman bekledi, ne de şeytan günahları onu beklediğim gibi.
You just wouldn't believe you could get that whole tent and all the extended poles and pegs all in this little neat bag, but it's called organisation, and what I've done this morning, it's Sunday morning the 18th of June, and I've had my tent, ground sheet and fly sheet over the washing line, just giving it a final airing and brushing off any debris that may have gathered from the woodland. I've also got my sleeping bag out for a little sunshine air. It's the best thing to do. Any moisture that contained will be quickly dried off in the sun. This will probably be the last day of the overall heat. I think they're forecasting thunderstorms and heavy rain overnight and tomorrow. So I cut the grass yesterday. I'm quite glad I did, because that's it. Basically that'll be it till perhaps the end of August before I give it another cut. So I'm not going to do a full wittering, it's just a case of letting you see this compact tent. It's a bit weighty, but if that's on the big rucksack at the bottom and it's covered with waterproof material, you don't notice the weight. What I generally do is carry it on the shoulders of the rucksack. It spreads the weight better, and I put the roll mat at the bottom because it's fairly lightweight, you see. But that's everything done as far as, I mean, when you saw the footage of me, the rucksack, I just rammed everything in because it wasn't I wasn't trekking anywhere. And yesterday when I said I was just going to do 2 journeys of the rucksacks, well, I just carried both of them at the same time. One over my back, another one slung around part of my shoulder, so that's all been done. These geraniums are just looking very bonny, aren't they? So I'm going to push on. I've got a few things to get on with. This wash machine cycle's on the go just now, and I've got a journey down to the tip to make with the stuff, and what else? Oh yeah, household chores will wait till tomorrow when it's wet, and I'll give everything a good polish with a real sheen. Not with furniture polish, it just adds silicone to the furniture, can't get it off. It attracts dust, that's what it does. Clever manufacturers there. So you want a dust-proof polish. So what I use is just a little bit of vinegar on a fresh piece of cotton, and that does the job. Not too much vinegar, of course, but it's got to be white vinegar, not malt vinegar. I do that, and in the winter time I've got hours to maybe sit and Mo's I'll get the proper furniture polish. It's a wax, spread it on the furniture and spend about 3 days just doing that